In the next 100 years, there will finally be a discovery of the immense cosmological and pastoral significance of the doctrine of the Trinity. Now, just so you don't think that's too daring, I actually stand with hundreds of theologians in saying that. In the next 100 years, we will finally be discovering the immense cosmological and pastoral significance of the doctrine of the Trinity. We are the first generation prepared to understand this because we are the first generation to have microscopes and telescopes. In other words, we now look at the galaxies and we now look at the atom, and we realize that everything in the known universe in between is all relational. It's all the mystery of relationship. Certain things circling around certain other things. As any physicist could tell us, the power of the atom, just like the power of a triune God, is not in the three particles. It's not in the three, but it's in the relationship. The relationship between the three. You can't capture this power. You can't measure it. You can't name it. You can't grab it. It's just mystery. It's mystery. The bigger, better microscopes we get, we keep discovering smaller and smaller particles. And that particle is in relationship to another particle. We haven't gotten to the smallest particle yet, and we have not gotten to the final galaxy yet. But what we see, what we do see, is that the pattern of the Trinity is the pattern of the universe. The pattern of the Trinity is the pattern of the universe. What Genesis said from the beginning, 3,000 years ago, is right. We are created in the image and likeness of God. In the beginning, the author of Genesis writes, Yahweh, the God of Israel, speaks, and God speaks these words, "Let us make humanity in our image, in the likeness of ourselves." It's always struck me as odd that the plural pronoun is used, and it's always caught my attention and made me scratch my head. Let us make humanity in our image, in the likeness of ourselves. It seems to me to be an amazingly deep intuition of what some would later call the Trinity, the revelation of the nature of God as community, as relationship itself, a mystery of perfect giving and perfect receiving, and perfect giving and perfect receiving, both within God and outside of God. Reality is communion. Can you say that with me once? Reality is communion. Listen to your words. Because reality as communion is the template and the pattern for this entire universe. From atoms to galaxies. The first philosophical problem of the one and the many was overcome in God. And we found ourselves both monotheists and Trinitarian at the same time. It is one participatory universe of many diverse things in love with one another. Everything is one participatory universe of many diverse things in love with one another. You see, the implications of the doctrine of the Trinity as pattern, as template of the whole universe is actually rather obvious right now. But we are the first century that's been able to ever say that. Physicists, molecular biologists, astronomers, and other scientists are often more attuned to this universal pattern than many Christian believers. Teilhard de Chardin, Jesuit priest, mystic, paleontologist, said it very well. The physical structure of the universe is love. Could you say that with me? The physical structure of the universe is love. Wow. Why wouldn't it be? It was created out of nothing by love itself. It's communion. Why wouldn't it be? It was created by communion itself. It is relationship. Why wouldn't it be? It was created out of relationship itself. Trinity. Do you remember the beginning words of the Gospel of John? The Gospel writer puts it this way: in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Given what we know now about science and theology, we can say, in the beginning was relationship, and relationship was in God, and relationship was God. In other words, my friends, the first blueprint of reality was relationality. The first blueprint. It is all one piece, you see? And how we relate to God reveals how we will eventually relate to just about everything else. And how we relate to the world of 10,000 things is how we actively relate to God. Whether we know it or not, the way we relate to anything is how we relate to God. How we do anything is how we do everything. Father Richard Rohr said that, and many of us consider him a very spiritual father to us. The way we relate to anything is the way we are indeed relating to God in that moment. We found the template of reality, of all reality, and it is Trinity. Humanity has found the template of reality, and it is Trinity. God is essentially the mystery, the fundamental mystery, the originating mystery is shared life, life in relationship. Within the Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, perfectly loving, perfectly loved. Relationship was in God. Relationship was God. The Trinity is not an abstract, metaphysical, theological doctrine. It is now the nature of the known universe. This is good stuff. It is time. It is time for all of us to embrace the reality of our cosmic interconnectedness, that everything is dependent on everything else for its existence. And we cannot be fully ourselves without being in communion with everything that exists. It is time to move out of that consciousness that perceives things in terms of separateness. There's no more superior and inferior. There's no more dominant and subordinate. It's no longer humans over the rest of the natural world, or men over women, or first world over third world, or one race or one religion over another. Trinity Sunday demands a fundamental conversion so that we see all as interdependent partners sharing in one earth human relationship that we can't do without. This is an equality never before comprehended, at a level never before appreciated. This is huge. And it is time that we realize we are connected at the very essence to each other and to this good earth, at our essence. That's what it means to be in God. We got to start focusing upon this sacred bond that exists between all people in this good earth and indeed everything that is. So that I can say to you, every single marriage here this morning, every single friendship you have here or anywhere, every single community like the CSC, every act of service you perform, every donation of yourself to another, every moment spent in nature, each is an attempt to express that mystery, to immerse ourselves again in that essence, to participate, each of us, in this divine dynamic that one theologian described as the very ground of our being. This is it. It's time for us to refine the pattern, to refine that template in everything. Forever, wherever relationship is, there is God. Wherever relationship is happening, there is God. But in the end, only lovers know this. Only lovers know what's going on inside of God. To all others, God remains impossible, distant, and uninteresting. The Trinity is a wonderful mystery, but it can never fully be known by the rational mind. It can only be known by lovers. The bottom line is this: the ground of our being is relationship. Reality is radically relational. Therefore, should we be. And the power is not in the things, and it's not in the individuals. The power is in the relationship. In just 16 minutes or so, you will be going to communion. That's what we're talking about. Because communion is the first and the final shape of the universe. And it's time we figure out for ourselves what that's going to mean for our lives.